How y'all doing? I'm Paul Ryan, your host of the Across the Cowboys podcast. If you're new to the show, thank you for joining us. And to our regular listeners, welcome back. With me, as always, is my co-host, the greatest co-host in the world, Mike the Pig Crum. Mike, how are you?
I'm doing good, my friend. How are you doing, Paul?
Doing well. Mike, around this time, when Cowboys aren't playing football, our show sheet tends to get a little smaller. The shows get a little bit shorter. When I sent you that show sheet tonight, what were your thoughts?
I knew it because the message you sent me, before was kind of giving me a warning, but I was like, we're not even playing football anymore. What the hell is this? But it's an important time of year. Two of the Cowboys rivals just played. Two of the best quarterbacks in the league and the AFC just played. So, we have to go over it, and it helps us understand what we're going to need to get to this point. We could look at the two teams and go, do we have a Mahomes and a Burrow? Or do we need to build up a team like Philly and San Francisco have around their non-Mahomes and Burrow quarterbacks? So, it shows both ways you could do it. It's just, will our front office, pull the trigger?
Right. Yeah, and what's funny is I thought we might be talking more about the games from yesterday, but there's actually quite a bit of Cowboys-related news to discuss tonight.
Yeah, there is. I mean, Jerry's going to try to keep us in the news, so he dropped some stuff during the conference title games to keep us interested, and it's going to always controversy of Dak, and he's going to be involved, and then there's a reason why all the shows always have Dallas in their mouths,
Right, very true. Well, Mike, before we get into our discussion tonight, let the people know where they can find you on Twitter.
At CD Piglet, guys, nice and easy. I'm gonna turn my heater off too. Pardon me. It ain't that cold.
No worries, Mike. It's about to get hot in here, so might maybe a good deal. You don't want to. I see you got the hoodie on. You might have to end up taking that boy out by the time the show's over.
Wakanda forever. What is it? Wakanda forever. Sure, I've worn it before, but I love that. I love this one.
I still haven't seen the new Black Panther. I might have to watch that.
It comes out tomorrow? What day is it?
No, I thought it was already. It's already on Disney Plus, right?
Disney Plus. It comes out on Wednesday.
Oh, okay.
Wednesday, February 1st. Now, why did they do that? Why'd they wait the longest time to release? Why'd they wait till February 1st for Black Panther?
February is an important month for people, right?
Yes, that. A lot. Hey, honestly, a lot of African American people hate that because, like Morgan Freeman, I saw an interview where he was like, "I don't want all my stuff to be put into one month. Like, where's White History Month or Latino History Month? Or it's like it's not a big thing." And there is. He's like, y'all could have a White History Month, and we'll just have the rest of the year. So. Not everybody likes that. Even the Black Panther thing I've seen on Twitter where people are complaining like, just put the movie out like January 17th, like, the regular timeline. Like you don't have to push it weeks to make it go on Black History Month. But, it is what it is. It ain't no big deal in the long run.
Mike, for some reason, I don't know why, but when you said White History Month, it triggered a thought. And I was looking on HBO Max for a movies for my wife and I to watch tonight, and I saw that American History X is on there, and she's never seen it. She'll never watch it, but I think soon we're gonna have to rank like our top 5 Edward Norton movies. I have a feeling that would be both in our top 5s. I'd like to think
it's gotta be. If it's not in there, it's right on the cusp.
If it's not in there, you haven't seen that movie.
I love American History X, but I'm also a huge Edward Norton fan, so I'm just going through in my head. I know what one is. That is without question. Huh?
Fight Club?
No. It'd be Fight Club would be top 3, but not 1.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
He's a good one, man. He's a good actor.
Yeah, Primal Fear, bro.
Never seen it.
Oh my God. You can't rank
until I see Primal Fear.
We can't rank them. That is the best movie.
Did you watch Glass Onion already?
Yes, also good. Probably would make my top 5. I like that. I like Ryan Johnson. I'm gonna watch that Peacock show he's got. But dude, this show sheet's long enough. Let's
I didn't mean to get us off track, Mike. When you started messing with the heater, I got off track. But got back to our Twitter handles. You can find Mike at CD Piglet. Nice and easy. Guys, I'm Paul Ryan. You can find me on Twitter at Paul_Ryan15. Mike, I hope you ate something good today. It's Meatless Monday. What was on the menu?
This morning I had a breakfast sandwich. I use the Beyond sausage. I have in my fridge, I have Beyond breakfast sausage, I have Beyond hamburgers, I have Beyond sausage links, and I only use them on Mondays. And then today my plan was, hey, I haven't had one of those burgers in a while. Let's do the Beyond Beef, burger for dinner. And then I looked through my stuff and I had some vegetables that ended up needing to be used. And so I used those to make a vegetable zoodles dish, And so I didn't get the Impossible Burger in, but maybe I'll do that tomorrow. I like those. They're not that bad. A little ketchup, a little mustard, a little cheese. Put them on a nice toasted bun. They have like more of a meatloaf texture than a hamburger texture.
Yeah.
But in the end, they taste pretty damn good. So I needed to use the veggies though. Those are in the freezer. They're gonna last another few months. There was no urgency to have it. So if nothing else, I'll have one next week.
Are you up to try any Beyond Meats, Mike? I think I'd rather just have I've had veggie burgers in the past, and those were always good, but I'm still kind of skeptical about those things.
They're okay. They're like the Beyond sausage I have just tastes like sausage. You wouldn't even, if I made it for you and I made the breakfast sandwich I made with a scrambled egg and a hash brown on an English muffin, you would just think it was a sausage McMuffin type, only homemade.
Got you. All right, Mike, you mentioned the show sheet. This boy's pretty long, so let's go ahead and get after it. We're going to start with the Eagles and Niners here. When you look at that game, Mike, was this the biggest letdown as far as championship games go?
Sure, easily. It's one thing to get blown out and you blow a full team out, and it's like, damn, they killed. It wasn't competitive. They had quarterbacks that couldn't throw anymore. They basically couldn't do you know how crappy it is to watch a game where one side can't pass? I don't, because I did not watch that game. The minute Brock Purdy went out, I didn't even watch the Josh Johnson. I watched a replay of where he scored a touchdown. I didn't even watch it once Purdy went out. I was like, I'm not going to watch Eagles kill this team.
Yeah, I mean, at one point in the fourth quarter, Brock Purdy was like 3 for 3. And I was like, dude, this game is just – it's despicable because for a championship game to be this way.
3 for 3. It's so unfair. I feel bad for the Niners. They had such a great year, and they're on such a roll. And then a tight end gets stuck on Hassan Reddick and one hit, and your game honestly, it wasn't even that. The guy, Hassan Reddick, hit the other guy and his head bounced off the thing and he got concussion protocol because they were doing fine with Johnson in. He had a turnover later, but if you take away the 7 points that was given to Eagles on a bad call, their Niners are right there with their fourth string quarterback. So it's unfortunate. It was a pretty lame game.
I remember watching the play where Purdy got hurt, and I'm like, how hard did he get hit in his elbow where his shoulder was, I guess, dislocated or popped out of place?
He tore his UCL.
Sheesh, man.
It's an injury that Josh Allen had a strain. He didn't tear it completely. That kid completely tore it. So, yeah, it was over for him.
Man, how strong is Hassan Reddick, I wonder?
He's a badass. It's funny though. People wonder why, how did he not win the All-Pro? He was being blocked by a tight end, dude. He's a great edge rusher, great, but he's not thought of in the same realm as Parsons, Nick Bosa, where those guys, you never put a tight end on them. No, dude, you're gonna put three people on those type of guys.
Mm-hmm.
For the Eagles, Brandon Graham, Hassan Reddick, and Hargrave are all seen kind of evenly, and then Cox is the older veteran one, and it's more of all of them equally are great pass rushers. Then it's thought of you got to stop Hassan Reddick, who's a beast, but he's just not thought of like that.
Right. So Mike, when you look at that game, I mean, it was closer than the score would indicate, but let's just say the Niners did have Brock Purdy. Do you think they win that game?
I think they have a good chance. I mean, legitimately, with the backup in, it was 7-0 Niners. The Niners got to stop on 4th and 3. The DeVonta Smith dropped the ball clear as day on the replay, but the replay, they didn't get that view until too late, and the Eagles smartly went up, ran a play, and ended up scoring on that one. But if you take that away, if it's called correctly, the Niners got the ball at midfield, and they had Purdy healthy. Who knows what they do there? And then on the other end, what is it, Joe Johnson or whatever, the 4th-string quarterback, scored a touchdown and made the game 7-7 in the second quarter in a game where they didn't even earn the 7 points on Niners defense. So sure, they had a chance to win that.
Yeah, and then emotions got pretty high. And San Francisco's kind of started shooting themselves in the foot with bad penalties and just out of frustration. But yeah, I mean, with Brock Purdy, we've seen him win some big games already in the playoffs, winning 2 home games as an undrafted, as not an undrafted guy, but as Mr. Irrelevant. And he's proven that he can run that offense, man. I do think that San Francisco probably would have won that game.
They definitely had a chance. We don't know what Philly could have done because they realized, like, hey, we don't have to show nothing. Just run our basic bullshit. They can't throw the ball. This game's over. They're not going to score on our defense, with the quarterbacks out. So they didn't really have to do a lot. They were able to just play their vanilla stuff and win an easy game.
Yes, sir. You looking at Philly's path to the Super Bowl, Mike? Was this the easiest that you can easiest in recent memory?
Oh, yeah, easiest. I've been around forever. I can't think of an easier one. Now, that's not a knock on Philly. If Dallas beats Jacksonville and beats Green Bay, they were up on both of them double digits in the fourth quarter. If they do their job and win those games, they got the 1 seed. Then they got Giants in the second round, alpha bye, getting healthy. And then they go in and face Philly or San Francisco, whoever came out of that, and say it was Philly, right? Say they win again. No team after facing the Niners won a game all season. I think it was 0-15, 0-16, whatever. No team won after they faced the Niners. So even if it was won, they would come out beat up and everything. We would have played the Giants stuff. So Philly put themselves in position to get the easiest path.
Yeah.
That's not a knock on them. But they, it is a fact. They had the easiest path I could ever remember.
Yeah, you can't be mad at, they play who they play, and they beat the teams they were supposed to beat, so you can't be mad at them. But, man, playing a 3rd and 4th-string quarterback in Daniel Jones with, no real weapons and kind of an up-and-coming defense, pretty simple.
Yeah. I mean, Daniel Jones with no receivers and then a team that couldn't pass the ball in the second half. Like, literally could not throw passes. Like,
yeah,
can't get any easier.
No, it cannot. Going to the AFC games, Mike. Which AFC team were you rooting for simply because you think they had the better chance of beating Philly?
It was KC for me, and a lot of people think it's Mahomes. I think Burrow is as good as anybody. It's because I didn't want that Eagles D-line going against Cincy with 3 hurt offensive linemen.
Yes.
And I love Andy Reid off of a bye, and Andy Reid, getting to face his old team, a little extra motivation. So,
yeah,
I was going for – and, of course, Patrick Mahomes. So, yeah, I was going for Kansas City.
Yeah, same here. Reason being is I feel like Cincinnati could have beat Philly, but I wanted Kansas City to win this game simply because I wanted them to get get the revenge on Cincinnati.
Oh yeah, for sure. And I wouldn't have minded Cincinnati won. I'd have rooted for them. I really like Joe Burrow, but I was looking for Kansas City this game.
Yeah, I mean that would have been quite the matchup to watch. That Eagles defensive line versus Cincinnati's decimated O-line.
Yeah, I already seen what Tampa did to Kansas City when Kansas City lost 4 offensive linemen. I don't want to see that again.
No, sir. Looking at that game, Mike, at the end, it got a little weird there, especially with the refs. Did you feel that the refs ruined that game?
I don't think they ruined it, but they definitely were way too involved. Like the one play where it was like a full, like the play happened, everybody was lining up for 4th down, and then the refs were like, hey, we're redoing the play, and everybody's sitting there going, okay, something happened, they got to redo fourth down. It's like, no. The other play, third, and you're like, what the hell?
That was super weird, dude. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the last play, it's unfortunate in a game like that, especially that kid played such a good game, and he's just trying to make sure the quarterback goes out of bounds. You're not going to tell how far you are. By letter of the rule, it is a penalty in nowadays football, but it's such a bummer they had to call that. But really, the weirder one was because everybody's kind of like, that's weird. You give him another shot on third down, and then they call the penalty. It was like, oh, by the way, they get a first down too. So we gave him another play, and they gave him a first down. You're kind of like, what was that about? But
yeah,
I don't think they ruined it. The game was really good. They called a penalty. I hate to say that because if I'm the ref there, I'm swallowing the whistle and going, look, I know he pushed you out of bounds, but I'm not giving you a free 15 yards. It wasn't that big a deal, But they called it what it was. The guy makes the easy field goal, and it is what it is. Ruin those a little bit strong.
For that being a 15-yard penalty automatically, I wonder, should they make it like reduce it to 10 or even 5?
Make it 5 and 15, like they do with face masks.
Yeah,
I believe, or they used to do with face masks. I don't know if that's true anymore. Or running into the kicker. Like if you take out the plant leg or whatever, it's 15. But if you just hit them while you're going through, it's only 5. Like they should do that. That penalty, where it's that should be a 5-yard penalty. That's like, there's no malice in it. Now you take a guy out over the middle and decleat him and everything. Sure, 15 yards, but I'd like them to separate that, a 5-yard and a 15-yard.
Yeah, and another play I found kind of odd was there was one with MVS where it's like 3rd and 7. He reaches to try to gain that first down, and they gave it to him. And you see the replay, he's not really very close, and they still gave it to him anyway. I thought that was somewhat strange.
Yeah, it looked like when he went down, it was like at least a foot away, and they said that it was touching the line. I was like, man, it didn't seem like it to me, but
I'm
not going to go ruin.
Yeah,
they were not great.
No, it wasn't. Let's get some Cowboys talk in here, Mike. And you look at those 4 teams. What did watching those 4 teams tell you about the changes Dallas needs to make this offseason?
For me, I think they need minimum 1, but realistically 2 more playmakers.
Yep.
Especially let's consider Tony Pollard on the team. That the franchise tag numbers came out. It's going to be $10 million. It's less than what they're paying Schultz. So just flip that over to him. It's almost the same exact of money they make by cutting Zeke post June 1st. So you make that switch. But even then, you have Lamb and Tony Pollard. Like, look at the Debo, Brandon Ayuk, Kittle, Mitchell, Christian McCaffrey. How about A.J. Brown, Sanders, Goddard, Devontae Smith, Quez Watkins? How about Boyd, Chase, Hurst, Higgins,
Joe Mixon, Samaje P. Ryan.
Yeah, and then you go Kansas City has Mahomes. You don't, does he have all the great, but like Juju and
Travis Kelce?
Great, but Kelsey's a beast, but he's Mahomes, so he's different.
Yeah.
But all the other teams just have, like, you can't line up one-on-one with them and like try to man them up and everything. Like, they'll destroy you. So, they need 2 more playmakers. I would say they need a big play defensive tackle too. Cox and Hargrave.
Chris Jones.
Armstead. What's the one?
Chris Jones.
The
monster. Filthy monster, bro.
And Bengals are the unique one. Like, when I look at Bengals, I don't see anybody on their defense, and I'm like, I got to have that guy. They just play good collectively. But the other 3 all have monsters at defensive tackle.
Yeah.
So, and I'm not saying that Osa doesn't become that in year 3. Maybe he does. But if not him, they need to get one. That's one of the things the defense is missing.
Yeah, absolutely. That was my answer. It's pretty simple. We need some more playmakers, Mike.
Yeah, clearly need playmakers.
Okay, ranking Dallas along with those 4 teams, where would Dallas rank?
I probably have them 5th. Could they beat Philly? Sure. Would I say their team's as good? No, their team overall is not as good. I think they could beat them if Dak plays like up to Dak's potential. I don't think Hurts. If Dak and Hurts both play their best game, Dak beats them. He's really good when he's at his best. Where Jalen Hurts kind of has a great team around him. And so, I mean, you've seen versus the Niners, he was missing passes to guys that were just running open. He missed a few of them. He just doesn't have to do a lot right now because there's no threat to him. So maybe he beats them, but I mean, Niners, they beat us 2 straight times. They just I can't put us above them. And the 2 AFC teams are they have killers at quarterback. They're monsters. So I would put us 5th. I don't think we're as good as those 4 yet.
For me, Mike, I had us at 4th, right above Kansas City, simply because our defense is better.
Our defense is better, but I mean, they got Mahomes.
That's fair. Very, very fair. Okay, Mike, we were talking about playmakers earlier. You look at this Dallas team, and they've been known to take, favor running backs. What would it take for you to take another running back in round 1 with this team?
I don't think I would. I don't think there's anything they could do to make me want to. I can't take a first-round running back. For me, the position, if the player's elite, best at his position, great. You get what, 3 to 5 great years out of him? I just can't value a first-round pick like that. I would rather take and I understand that you could get a corner that is Kelvin Joseph and not be any good, or Taco Charlton. But if I get a corner or a lineman or a linebacker or somebody, they could have, if they're elite, they're best of the best, you can get 10 to 12 years out of them. Running back, you're just not going to get much more than 3 to 6 years, like at your best. And so for me, I want a first-round pick where there's a good chance I get a second contract out of them. Yeah. And I don't do that with the running back. So that's not for me.
Mike, I would take a first-round running back if we traded back into the 30s and we had a big offseason with some higher-tier free agents, like we filled some holes with some real players. Then I'd be okay with taking a first-round running back.
That would make it less because we got an extra pick. It was really the bottom of the first round. We went out and got a receiver and an offensive lineman that are starters right now that can make plays for you. Then at least it's palatable. You're like, okay, add the kid from Texas.
Bijan.
Add him to this lineup with another wide receiver, that a Odell Beckham, whatever, and a big lineman that they got, a big, powerful left guard they signed. And you're sitting there going, oh, okay, hey, this offense is pretty good. I can understand that. I hate the idea of using a first on a running back.
But, you say that. It's interesting to me that you would want to spend $10 million on Tony Pollard.
Well, it's like the Schultz thing. I don't want to sign him to long-term.
Yeah.
I need a guy that next year I know CD's got some help. Like,
right.
If you get rid of Tony Pollard, you're talking there's not those playmakers at receiver in this free agency pool. There just isn't. The running backs, you might as well get Pollard. He's the best one available. So you're telling me I'm getting CeeDee Lamb and rookies, and I hate that idea. So not a long-term deal, but a tag for Tony Pollard, $10 million, replace Schultz. You get the money from Zeke, let Zeke go. I don't mind that. I think you got to have some playmakers.
Fair enough. So we had some good news this week, Mike, and one being we bring back Dan Quinn, and he said that his heart's in Dallas. He wants to win a Super Bowl here. Excuse me, guys. How'd that make you feel, hearing Quinn say that?
I felt like Jerry Jones said, listen, MM's got one more year to win me a Super Bowl, and then you're the coach.
Oh, so, you really think it's like that?
Yeah, I told him, he goes up to Dan Quinn, he goes, listen, if we don't win you're going to be the head coach. If we do win, everybody's going to want you because you just won a Super Bowl as a defensive coordinator of the Cowboys, and you're only going to get more opportunity. So it's a no-lose for you. You're getting a job either way after this year. You're getting a job leaving Dallas as a Super Bowl winner or taking over for Mike McCarthy. So that's how I felt when Dan Quinn came back.
That is an interesting way to look at it, Mike. I like that, man. Thinking outside the box there. For me, I was relieved because we bring back Quinn. I was excited, of course, because we're bringing back Quinn, and again, very happy because Quinn's staying here in Dallas, staying with Micah, continue to develop him. You know, the guys love him. It seems that he has a pretty good relationship with Dak as well. So excuse me. So yeah, man, I was very excited.
Yeah, I'm pretty ecstatic about that. That's a huge year 3 move.
So, Mike, I was watching the Kansas City game last night, and I was talking to my father-in-law, and he mentioned something about Kellen Moore, and I don't know what made me look it up, but I found out during last night's game that Kellen Moore was not returning. What were your thoughts when you heard that news?
This is another Dan Quinn like theory, and I did not confirm this. I didn't talk to anybody about this, but I believe, as at not to be trite, Mike White has said, there's restrictions on this offense. We paid a running back a lot of money. Dallas wants to win a certain way. Their front office wants to win their way so that they could take credit. And I believe that they said, hey, Kellen, we'll have you back if you want to, play ball our way again, and do what we do. It's like, if you don't, you can go out and look for another job. And he went and, San Diego right away, or Los Angeles Chargers right away, said, you got, Keenan Allen, you got
Mike Williams, Jordan Palmer,
running back.
Austin
Eckler, you got Justin Herbert, and you got Rashawn Slater and a decent offensive line, and you won't get restrictions. And Kellen Moore came to him and said, you know what, I think I'd like to go to the Chargers and kind of get away from here. And they mutually agreed to part ways. That's just my belief on the subject that if Moore wanted to stay, he would have stayed. And Moore was like, nah, dude, it's my time to get out of here.
Really, again, so kind of going conspiracy here, thinking that Moore was limited by the front office.
Yeah, well, I believe when Mike White says something, I believe he knows a little bit that he can get some inside info. And if he says that the front office told Kellen the motion stuff and the passing, all the passing and everything, let's chill on that and kind of go with run the ball, old school style 90s Cowboys football, line them up and beat them with your talent. And I just think that doesn't win nowadays. And Moore is like, all right, I did all I could do here.
Yeah, I remember Mike saying that last week. So I don't know. I didn't really feel that the offense ran that way this year. Do you?
There would be a game where CD would motion almost every play, and then the next 2 games you wouldn't see him motion at all. It's like, what is happening right now?
Gotcha.
It's weird. It's tough.
I was shocked because he hadn't been hired as a head coach, and I never would have guessed that Dallas would fire him. It was nice to know that they parted on, mutually, but I was shocked, Mike.
Yeah, once he didn't get hired as a head coach, that's where my theory comes in. It's like, why wouldn't they just keep him? I just think that it was more him wanting to go than them wanting to get rid of him.
Yeah. So when you heard that Moore wasn't returning and that Mike McCarthy would take over play calling, did your feelings change?
No, they didn't. I think this is like the last stand for Mike McCarthy. So he's going to go out on his shield and, he'll take care of the play calling and everything. And if he's going to go out, he'll go out, his way. And I think he has more of the trust from the Joneses, and maybe he can do a little bit more than Kellen Moore was allowed to.
What do you mean by that?
Meaning that if he wants to not have the ball go to Zeke half the time, that he can have that guy off his team for cap money, and he can draft the receiver first round, and he can tag Tony Pollard, and he can go at this with his way and see if he can get us further than Moore has been able to.
What are the chances that you think he can do that?
Good. If you look at his numbers in Green Bay before he gave up the play calling, it's pretty friggin' good numbers. In 2015, he gave up the play calling. They kind of went downhill from there. So, hopefully he's able to adjust like he has been so far here, and he can get the job done.
Do you think that Dallas should hire another offensive coordinator?
Definitely. It's, we still need Mike McCarthy to be the head coach. We need him to do the duties of the head coach. And I know the defense is Dan Quinn's, and he's going to be calling plays. But while he's going over head coaching stuff, we need an offensive coordinator there to set up the game plan going forward, do all that stuff. So it's not stuck on McCarthy to do that when he's trying to deal with the whole team.
Yeah, take some responsibility off of McCarthy. And also, I think it's important to have, a second voice, a second set of eyes to kind of look at things and maybe say, hey, I know you see this, but, I was watching some film. What do you think about this?
I agree 100%. The better they can get coaching-wise as far as the tree of coaches, the better the team will be for it.
So this is going to be Dak's third offensive coordinator. We saw Scott Linehan, and he had some, minor success with him, but kind of when it was forcing Dak to become a pocket passer. And then we saw Kellen Moore with Dak, and he elevated Dak. But what kind of offensive coordinator do you think would be best for Dak? Offense and offensive coordinator.
I think someone who makes the offense easier on him.
Yeah.
Like can scheme some guys open instead of just, hey, we're all going to run the curls here. It's cover 3. You just got to look and find the right guy fast enough before the defense gets in the zones and stuff. Like,
exactly,
that's rough. Your quarterback has to be perfect. And a couple games he was. The second Philly game, the one he played in, Tampa. There was Minnesota. There's a few games where he just killed people, but help him. It's all right to help him. Help him get people open.
Yeah, that's one thing on Kurt Warner's Quarterback Confidential. He just says that, a lot of Moore's route concepts, they weren't favorable to the quarterback or to the receivers.
Yeah, no, it's a lot of times T.Y. Hilton was open in this Niner game, as we talked about last week. But what progression was he? So he's got to look. By the time he gets to that progression, pressure's in his face. He doesn't get there in time. It's too much on the quarterback to do that. You got to help him out some.
Man, I can't imagine Kyle Shanahan and Dak Prescott together, dude.
If Dak Prescott's a 49er, they win Super Bowls for a long time.
Oh, man, my God. I would not be mad about watching that, to be honest with you.
Me neither. I'd love Dak to win. He's a great human being.
For me, as far as offensive coordinator goes, I like your points, Mike, about making the offense easier. I think someone who challenges Dak mentally, I think he would respond to something like that. I think that'd be a good one, too.
Yeah, when people asked why I wanted Moore fired up, because I'm a Moore fan. I don't think he's a bad OC. I had no problem keeping him if they did. But when they asked, do you want him back? I was like, not really, just because I want to change the voice in the ear of Dak. He seemed to regress a little this year. I want to get a new voice in there and somebody who can, do something different for him.
Jesse Holley seemed to think that Dak and Kellen Moore's relationship had peaked. And reason being, that wasn't going to go any further because it was a peer-to-peer relationship, not so much like a superior to player type of relationship.
Absolutely. They were both backup quarterbacks for the team in 2016, Dak's rookie year. Mm-hmm. Now it's, 5 years later, 6 years later, and he's calling plays and everything, but it's still not going to be that relationship.
Exactly.
Not somebody in there that could tell him what's what.
Right. Yeah, I guess we'll talk about that here in a minute. So I'll keep us on the show sheet, Mike. We're making good time, actually. I'm surprised.
I bet.
You look at a lot of the quarterbacks, and when they bring in new coaches and coordinators, the quarterbacks are part of that process. Do you think that Dak should be part of the process of helping make the decision of who the next offensive coordinator should be?
He's absolutely got to have input. I
Yeah,
mean, why have him if you're not going to? So, yeah, I'm not saying he should go. I want him over him,
yeah.
but they go, what do you think of this coordinator? What do you think of this coordinator? What do you think fit wise?
Hmm.
And that's fine. Get information like that, but he doesn't have to make the decision, but he has to be part of the input.
Absolutely, I agree 100%. I mean, you see guys like Russell Wilson, Aaron Rodgers, most franchise quarterbacks these days are having that sort of input. So yeah, it's only right that Dak does as well.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
I know this is probably a conversation we'll be talking about a lot in the offseason, Mike. But is there an offensive coordinator you would like to see here in Dallas?
I don't have a name, but for me, someone who can creatively put a run game together. Very important that, Zeke is very unlikely. I just don't see a way you could keep him, even if
Yeah,
he takes a pay cut. He doesn't have it. I feel bad about that, but he just doesn't have it. So you're going to be talking about maybe a Tony Pollard lead back, a Davis. I don't know if Dowd or a rookie will get in there, but you're talking about a whole new backfield and an offensive line that's rebuilding itself, regrouping. Steele's got to come back from injury. You got Zach. You got newly named Pro Bowl replacement Biotish. Left guard's probably going to be brand new, or left tackle if they get a tackle and Smith moves back to guard. So I'd like a creative run game caller, and I'd like a guy who could scheme pass catchers to get open instead of just relying on the quarterback to make the right reads every time fast.
do you have a name in mind?
Not yet. I've been doing too much college stuff that I haven't really gone over who's going to be available. And I really don't want to get an old school one. Like, I know Gary Kubiak's great creative run caller. He would work great, but he feels older now. Like,
Yeah.
someone new. So I need to look into that more.
So shout out to Tyler Biotish. I know you said just newly announced Pro Bowler. I mean, even as an alternative, Mike, that's great for Tyler Biotish, dude.
A lot of people wanted him replaced with 7th round rookies and undrafted free agents. And I was on his bandwagon. I thought he played better all year last year as the year went on. And I thought he played pretty damn strong this year. He's going to get overpowered because he's not the biggest. Like, Vita Vea is going to move him around sometimes. But
Yeah.
I thought he played strong this year. And we'll see what I'm not saying I'm into re-signing him. I'd still like to get a little bigger, but I'm down to go into next year going, okay, let's see what he can do, and then we can make a decision.
Yeah. So as far as a new offensive coordinator who I would like to see, Mike, this is probably some low-hanging fruit. I hadn't done a lot of research on it, but a name that came to mind who's had some success with mobile quarterbacks, he might probably be Dak would be the best mobile quarterback who also has an arm, in my opinion. What do you think about Greg Roman?
Oh, not bad. He'd have to come in and say, hey, we got a pocket quarterback now. Now, he can run some.
Yeah.
But we're not designing runs for him. So what are we going to do? Are you a only design quarterback runs guy? Like, we base our passing game around the fact that the quarterback runs.
Yeah.
And if he can get past that hurdle and show that, the running game is creative without the quarterback being involved and good, and then we can win from the pocket with his offense, I would be down.
I think he's creative enough to get the most out of your receivers too.
He is a fantastic run game coordinator that didn't have a lot of weapons or a QB that threw very well, so we couldn't test his offensive ability.
Hey, but he did he did a lot with Tyrod Taylor, and man, he was there for Lamar Jackson's MVP season, so that says a lot.
Yeah, I agree. I would have no issue if he was the guy. If he's not calling plays, what overall more value can he bring?
Got you. All right, Mike, here we're going to talk about your views from the sidelines. And I'm curious, is Justin Herbert a better fit for Kellen Moore's system?
I'm going to go back to my conspiracy stuff, and I'm going to say not having to like hand the ball up the middle to Ezekiel Elliott is going to be what has him doing better. Like being able to go out and use Eckler, Williams, Allen to his extent with a really good young quarterback with a really good arm.
Yeah.
I think it's not like, oh, he's got Justin Herbert over Dak, so now he's going to be better. But it's more, I trust the Chargers to go, do what you got to do, Kellen, and we'll go from there. Where I don't trust our front office to allow that.
It's pretty sad that we're having this conversation again about the front office limiting Kellen Moore in the offense.
I know it's we'll know this year because I don't care what kind of discount he takes. There's no reason to keep Ezekiel Elliott. If they keep Ezekiel Elliott and they continue that we go as Ezekiel Elliott goes, that's yuck.
Shout out to our guy, SDQ Flight Crew, our boy LP, the Heartbreak Kid. Ever since he left the show, Mike, it hasn't been the same, but he liked the title of the show, Mike.
Mitchell, shout out. Mitchell read his article. I don't know if it's directly his, but there's an article on Blogging and the Boys that he was in, and Mitchell was I haven't had a chance to read it. Sorry, LP. I'll get to it when I can. But he told me that, like, yeah, I seen that your old partner, the third person of the group that moved on, he was involved in that article, and I was like, yeah, he writes for Blogging with the Boys. And he was like, oh, okay, cool. Yeah, it came up on my stuff and I read it. And I was like, good. I was like, did you read mine about the offseason? He's like, I'll get to it.
Mike, I'm not saying that this podcast is the only reason why, but when people come on this podcast, good things seem to happen when they leave or afterwards.
That's right. I mean, just look at Tad Prescott. What was he before he got on here?
Look at KT Fun Tweets, Dalton Miller. I mean, what were those guys doing? You know what I mean?
Yep. I know we didn't have her on, but God, is it Aisha Moore or Aisha
Curry?
No. It's a Cowboys lady. She's on the draft show now, and she had just started, moved up and became a writer for Cowboys.com kind of when Hellman left, and now she's on the draft show. And man, I'm so sorry that I don't have the exact but I will get it for next week so people know it. And anybody that watches the draft show, y'all know she's new. Her first day though, she picked a pet cat that's not coming out this year. So welcome to the draft show. That happens a lot. That is not a she only did it because she's a rookie. That happens to one of them almost every single year, and they don't do it intentionally. They say it, and then it comes out like, hey, yeah, she's not that person's not gonna come out this year. It's like, oh shoot. So yeah, it was a nice welcoming. It's like a honorary thing to join yourself to the club.
Yes, sir. All right, Mike, here we are with one word. Give me one word for having a new offensive coordinator in 2024 has me feeling blank.
In 2023, we have
2023. I'm sorry, Mike.
Okay. That's what I had written down. So I was like, wait a minute. And I would be like, I'd feel bad. We lost the guy 1 year. He must have been terrible. I would say that my answer would be meh. And the only reason is because I need the weapons. If we don't have the Boyd, Higgins, Chase, Hurst, Mixon, if we don't have if you have Pollard, Lamb, Micah returns to form, Jake Ferguson takes a step up for Dalton Miller, and you get a rookie at 26 that's a beast. Now I'm like, okay, let's see what this OC could do, to help out Mike McCarthy calling plays and stuff. But if you go into next year and your answer is, signing T.Y. Hilton, which in my article that's out right now, I want them to do, but like that and, get one more playmaker and bring back Tony Pollard and, So it's meh until I see what weapons they have around Dak. I don't really care about the offensive coordinator.
I'm feeling it has me feeling anxious, Mike, because I don't know what to expect. I mean, here we are again at the end of the year. We're talking about the front office dictating what type of offense we run. That didn't make it any better for me.
Yeah, I know. I hate it. I hate the fact that it's like, and you just know, like, why are we running these run plays? It was frustrating. But the front office paid one guy a whole lot of money, and they were trying to not look so foolish on it. It is what it is. They look foolish, but hopefully going forward, that part is gone, and we get to see a new offensive backfield led by Tony Pollard for a year.
Yes, sir. All right, Mike, we're not going to have a top five tonight. Since the offseason has officially begun, we're going to start doing our prospect previews. But before we get to our first prospect, let's talk about the needs of this Dallas Cowboys team as of today. What are Dallas's top five needs in 2023?
We're doing a top five. It's just top five needs.
Yeah. Fair.
So my five. You want to do the typical way, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, or?
Yeah, we can do it that way. That's cool.
All right, my number
start us off with number 5. Yeah.
My number 5 is going to be corner depth. So
okay.
I like Diggs paired with Bland, who had a great rookie year and will have an off season, and Jordan Lewis coming back to play the slot. And then you just need like Mukwamu. He might be a safety corner hybrid. So
Right.
maybe another top 100 corner, somebody in the second, third round. Maybe even a day 3 guy like Bland that just happens to, hit. He fits what we are. But we definitely need one more good body there. So corner depth, because if anybody gets hurt, now you're talking yikes mode.
Yeah. Mike, for me, I'm going number 5. I want a defensive tackle. I mean, I was watching Chris Jones last night just tear it up. We don't have a difference maker, a defensive tackle. I like Osa Ziggy Neville Gallimore. He had a down season, but I think we need a difference maker there to really set this defensive line apart from the rest.
I agree 1,000,000,000%.
Oh, I like that. All right, number 4 on my list, Mike. I know we have Micah Parsons. He's not really he doesn't really play this position. We have a lot of hope for Damone Clark. LVE had a good year, but will he be back? We don't know what we have in Jabril Cox. He looks like a special teams player. I'm going linebacker.
Hey, we can move on because my number 4 is linebacker. I 100% agree. You have a lot of youth. You don't know what Damone Clark's going to be. Looks good. He's a film study guy. He has the speed. He has everything you want, but you just don't know until you see it. Exactly. He's got to take the step. If LVE's back, I will be much more excited because then you have those two. You have the young guy that can learn from LVE, and then you have kind of the safety hybrids that play linebacker, like Wilson and Curse and Bell and Mukwamu. And so the linebacker room doesn't look so bad. And you can go, okay, Jabril Cox is your extra guy. Maybe you get a depth guy, but it's not a big deal. But until we know LVE's back, hell, linebacker could be a first-round thing you need.
Yeah.
It definitely would be. Without LVE, I can't see them not getting linebacker one of the first 2 rounds or signing somebody.
Apparently, this linebacker class is not very strong either. So in the first round, we'd have to be taking a stud.
Yeah, I don't see one in the first. There's a couple of good day 2 guys. Penei Sewell's brother, Noah Sewell, is a big dude who will take on blocks and tackle whatever gets around him. But he's a 2-down linebacker. There's some linebackers that are cover linebackers, but I mean, we have Jabril Cox. We have 6 hybrid safeties that do that. Damone Clark seems to have that skill set.
Right.
So, LVE is a pretty big need. I believe they need to bring him, but that should be one of their, if not their top key, other than maybe Tony Pollard. LVE might be their guy. They need to make sure they lock up.
Agreed. All right, Mike, what's number 3 on your list?
Number 3 for me is defensive tackle.
Hey, okay.
Whether it's Osa making the 3rd-year jump or them going and getting a guy, the one thing they're missing is a killer at defensive tackle. If they get a killer and add that to Tank and Micah Parsons,
right,
game over. That defense will be enough. That is the spot. If they get that, I'd rather have that than corner depth. If we go into next year with the exact same corner group we have, and our cornerback 4 is Kelvin Joseph or Mukwamu or Wright, but we get a Chris Jones type year from Osa or a Chris Jones type guy in the draft, sign me up, because that line will be a monster and it won't matter how well we cover.
Yeah, I mean, having that difference maker, a defensive tackle, him applying that pressure would do so much for our secondary.
When Osa has gotten pressure, look what it's done. I mean, it's been enormous. If that becomes a regular thing, nasty.
Man, if we could just find us another David Irving, but who likes to practice and play hard.
Yeah. It would be incredible. We'll get to him at one of these draft things, but the kid from Michigan, Mezzi Smith or something like that. I haven't ever known, but like 6'3", 337 or something. I got to look over the details. There's a lot of guys running through my head. I'm really attacking defensive tackle, wide receiver, O-line, linebacker, cornerback. Like those 5 are the 5. So I have a lot of them going through, but man, that kid has a lot of traits for his size. Oh my God.
There's a guy out of Clemson too, Brian Brees, I believe.
Yeah, Brian Brees is
he's supposed to be like a top 15 pick, though.
There's like a Brian Young too. I would have to get on my phone and look through, but I have like 7-8 D tackles that could be impactful.
Yes, sir. All right, number 3 on my list, Mike. I'm going with cornerback. I love Deron Bland, of course. We know what Trayvon Diggs is. Deron Bland, he's looking like he's going to be a dog. But then after that, it's Anthony Brown, torn ACL. Jordan Lewis, he might be a cap casualty. We don't know what we have in Kelvin Joseph. He looks like a special teams guy. And then Nashawn Wright, he showed some spurts, but, we still don't really know what we have in him. So this is kind of a depth guy, but I wouldn't mind using a day 2 pick on another cornerback myself.
Yeah, me neither. I think the only reason Jordan Lewis survives the cap casualty is because they legitimately he becomes Dalton Schultz. Yeah, where it's like, well, we didn't really want him, but Jarwin happened, so Jarwin gets injured, and now we got to have him. You just look around; there's not enough. They don't have enough to just go, hey, decent starter, we're going to cut you. He doesn't make that kind of money.
How would you feel about bringing Anthony Brown back?
He had his injuries so late in the year.
I'm talking about at a discount, though. Obviously.
It wouldn't impact my want for corner at all.
No. Mine either. But I'm just saying. I wouldn't mind bringing him back though.
No, me neither. If it's cheap enough, you never know. Get him back for a playoff run. Good vet.
Yes, sir. All right, Mike. Number 2 on my list. I'm going with running back.
Running back, yeah. They, especially if they don't have Pollard, if they don't have Pollard, they're probably going to be going against me and looking for running back in the first round.
I hope not, man, because there's some guys on that day too, like a Sean Tucker, Tanks Bigsby, some guys like that would be just fine.
I don't think I added that, but running back is definitely in my top positions I'm looking at, So, sign me up. I'm trying to think of the kid's name, Noah Cross or something like that. Damn, I have so many going through my head, but yeah, there's a few running backs I looked at that are day like 3rd to 4th round picks that could be really good.
Yeah. All right, Mike, what's number 2 on your list?
Number 2 on my list is another offensive tackle. Well, I put another Tyler Smith. The reason I used him is, 1, I want a power guy. I don't want Linderbaum or Biotish but I want power. I want a big mauler type. And then I want him to either be a guard or a tackle. Mm-hmm. If the guy you get's a guard, Tyler Smith's your tackle. The guy you get's a tackle, Tyler Smith's your guard.
Right.
Either way, I need that left side secure, because I have a feeling Steele's going to get a pretty good deal. If not this season, he's restricted next year. And then Zach Martin's got another probably 3 good years in him. Biotish is getting his first Pro Bowl, and he's lined up for next year. Mm-hmm. So just get me one left side player that's a big monster, and I'm very happy.
That big boy out of Georgia, we were talking about him the other night, man.
Bro, let's go.
All right, Mike. Who is number 1 on your list?
Number one is another offensive playmaker, pass catcher.
Okay.
And I know wide receiver is the easy answer, but
Yeah.
honestly, if it's T.Y. Hilton, Michael Gallup, CeeDee Lamb, Tony Pollard, and they go get a Darren Waller, that's fine.
Oh Lord, Darren Waller would be ridiculous, dude.
Yeah, it just means they need a beast pass catcher.
Yeah.
So I prefer it to be a wide receiver, but if it's tight end, that's fine too. Dalton Schultz does not count. He's not a big play guy.
I know you mentioned Darren Waller. How would you feel if the Cowboys brought in Hunter Renfrow to play the slot?
I'd have no issue with that. I think he would be an upgrade over T.Y. Hilton. So that would be, I'd be totally happy with that.
And he's a great route runner, and he can create a lot of separation.
Yeah, and they need that. They need it badly.
Yeah, Mike, it's pretty easy. You said it was easy. You went playmaker, but I went straight up wide receiver. And yeah, I mean, there's some good guys in the draft. I think this has some good ones, not great ones, but there's some ones in there I think you could take like a chance on day one, like with your first round pick, and then take one in like the last, like a day 3, and you'd be pretty happy.
That 26th pick is pretty set up to get you a good wide receiver. If you want to, probably a round 2 guy, not a round 1 guy. They're going to be, but at that point you're getting round 2 guys, but like, will Jalen Hyatt be there? Will Downs be there? Will
Jackson Smith-Njigba?
Yes. Is he Georgia or Alabama? Where is he from?
He's Ohio State.
Ohio State. I knew it was one of the big schools.
Yeah.
But if you can get yourself one of those guys, I think you're pretty happy. If it happens where a defensive tackle falls or offensive lineman, day 2 is going to have a lot of guys that you like. Now, I like Jalen Tolbert day 2, and that's the risk you take. But I think wide receiver in one of the first 2 picks is going to be like you can pencil it in.
How would you feel if we threw a big bag at T. Higgins?
I don't think he's a free agent yet, is he?
Yeah, he is. He's a free agent this offseason.
I'd be happy with it. And what's funny is I didn't have him as a guy coming out of the thing. I thought he might not work out, but man, him, Lamb, Pollard, Jake Ferguson, get yourself a draft still a guy that you can, Higgins is your X now. Lamb is your Z or slot, and then get yourself another guy that can move around in there. And you got Higgins, Gallup, Lamb, one more, decent first or second round rookie. Now you're talking about having the playmakers with a Ferguson who can make plays, a Hendershot, and a Tony Pollard if you bring him back on the tag. Now you're pretty happy.
Oh, Mike, I might need to correct myself. It looks like, hold on.
I think Higgins one more year.
Yeah, I think he does have one more year, man. But because apparently a lot of people were talking about him maybe going to sign with the Bears. But yeah, he has his final year is this year.
Well, you're dead to me now.
Okay, Mike, I mentioned this prospect preview now where it's draft season. So the prospect I want you to study, give us a scouting review next week. Your prospect is Eli Ricks, cornerback out of Alabama.
Yep. I will have it done. Don't worry. And he's a guy I was going to do because he fits the mold. 6'2", 190. He doesn't do the 200 mark, but 190 in this draft is big. There's a lot of slim reapers at cornerback in this draft. So he's one of the bigger ones, which Dallas is going to look at. So yeah, I'll have one ready for you. Don't worry. I have 2 guys, one guy ahead of him, and then he's next. So I'll be ready for next week.
I'd be lying if I said I didn't love our off-season episodes because we talk about prospects and a lot of fun stuff, Mike.
I love the off-season episodes. I just wish it was 2 weeks from now we were starting it.
You and me both, brother. Hey, we can make it out of an hour. Let's get this outro done. Mike, where can we find you on Twitter?
At CD Piglet, guys. Letter C, letter D. Piglet, nice and easy.
Guys, I'm Paul Ryan. You can find me on Twitter at Paul_Ryan15. We appreciate you joining us, and we'll see you guys next week.
Look at us.